Yes, sir. Came all the way from Ireland. Rams house, baby. Rams house. Let's go.
As the 2025 NFL Wildcard Weekend comes to a close, the fourth-seeded LA Rams came up in a big way on Monday Night Football, defeating the fifth-seeded Minnesota Vikings 27-9. The game was played at a neutral location in Glendale, Arizona, after being relocated due to the fires in Southern California this past week. I caught up with a couple fans after the game to get their perspective of what they saw. All right, well, big win for your team today. You guys are moving on, taking on the Eagles. How are you feeling?
They did great. The offense did great. Defense did great. As you saw, contained one touchdown, one field goal. Can't ask better from a great team. And the Eagles are going to be a tough challenge stopping the run. I think that's the biggest concern. And the mobile quarterback is what we have a problem with, stopping the run. But if we can contain Barkley, we'll be good. We'll go to Super Bowl.
Matthew Stafford was able to connect with 8 different receivers. What does that say about this Rams offense and their depth chart?
It's not just, Puka or Cup or Robinson. It's the next, like they said, the next man up, right? That's what McVay was saying, the next man up, and that's what it takes to win games. Not just the stars, but everyone to step up in a big game.
Cooper Kupp had one catch tonight, and he's been the number one guy in their offense for so long, and they were able to just spread the ball around. And something that Stafford's done, I feel like, a lot in LA. Definitely helped that Tyler Higbee got hurt tonight, so they had to use their other tight ends too. But either way, Matthew Stafford just locked in, dialed in, just reading the defense so easily, just picking them apart all game. It really seemed like him and Sean McVay they had Brian Flores' number tonight.
Not quite so good on the other side of the field for the Vikings. What were some of those struggles and kind of just not being able to generate any offense and kind of, especially that first half dominance from the Rams?
The pressure, like the Lions did on him, man. He panicked, put pressure on him. I think the secondary actually did a great job. They shut down Jefferson. There was a couple penalties on against him, but they shut him down, man. I think that was a big win. Big shout out to the secondary and then the defensive line, man. Like I said, putting pressure on him. The whole defense just kind of did it as a unit, clicked in together, and man, we came up with this win, right?
I mean, they had 9 sacks tonight, right? Like, they were clearly getting after Darnold all night. It was a problem for them last week against Detroit too. This Rams defensive line came out to play today. It looked like they had trouble getting the receivers open too, at least early, which is kind of part of their offense, but it's kind of also just like the Rams defense came out and played tonight. They shut down Minnesota, held them to 9 points, one of the best offenses in football this year, so they can hang their hats on that for sure.
Yes, sir. Came all the way from Ireland. Rams house, baby. Rams house. Let's go.
What's that fan atmosphere like, and kind of what would you say the fan base split was?
There was more Vikings fan, but I believe we got loud enough and hung in there when they needed us and supported and got loud at when they needed us and came out with a couple big wins. Even though, like I said, it was our home field advantage, but I think they got the home field advantage. But at the end, it didn't even matter.
The section we were sitting in was pretty much all Vikings fans for the most part. We were sat behind the Vikings bench, so naturally you're going to have more Vikings fans over there. But even as the game was going on, when towards the end of the game, the Vikings fans started leaving, looking at the other side of the stadium behind the Rams bench, there were noticeable patches in the crowd. There were a lot of Vikings fans here tonight. I was kind of surprised again because LA is so much closer to Arizona than Minnesota is. But yeah, no, Vikings fans absolutely showed out tonight. Unfortunately, their team didn't show up for them.
Cardinals were
the Cardinals for hosting us. Like I said, the planes, everything they did, letting us paint the field. They could have done the Cardinals on the field like they did, I think, with the Niners game. But once they held it right here, so big thanks to them, and it was great. It wasn't SoFi, but that at least gave us the nearest experience that we could get from SoFi, man. And appreciate it to that. Thanks to the Cardinals, yeah. It's just tough. People that live in the hills, those are the ones that suffer most in the fires. We just kind of have to deal with the bad air quality. Nothing to complain about. Glad that we're all safe, most of us here. But it's a tremendous big deal going on over there. And like I said, going back over there, and hopefully most of it got contained or some of it got contained, and at least hoping to make progress as we get back there today.
About it, but no, it's absolutely tragic what's going on there, and it's very cool to see stuff like this happen where another football team can step up and be like, hey, look, I understand this natural disaster going on in your state, come play in our stadium. It's very cool, I think, for that to happen.
Were there any kind of special pregame ceremonies or moments of silence before the game, kind of acknowledging that and acknowledging the first responders?
To be honest, I don't really remember. I know that there was a lot of LAFD branding, LA Fire Department branding. All like the in-game studio hosts were wearing LAFD hats. I saw some in the crowd as well. So there was a lot of support for that, and they mentioned it multiple times on the PA and stuff during the game. Like, hey, shout out, not exactly these words obviously, but like, hey, shout out to everybody that's been helping and prayers to everybody who's been affected. So yeah, I don't know. It's been very cool to see, I guess, people being able to rally in sort of a community effort around what's going on in California.
And last things here, looking ahead to next week, divisional round, down to the final 8 teams. What's your prediction kind of out of any of those teams, or any hot takes, or even an early Super Bowl prediction?
It's it's very tough, to be honest with you. I think LA was probably not the favorite, but they got a good shot at beating Philly next week. Philly did not look great against Green Bay in the first round.
Let's say 35-32 Rams.
All right, Super Bowl prediction. What's your Super Bowl prediction?
Man, that's gonna be a tough one. I don't have one, but let's see the Ravens and the Rams.
Philly got to get some offensive stuff together. We'll see how the Lions play in their first playoff matchup against the Commanders. I like them in that matchup, but I mean, Jane Daniels. I don't know. I still think, at least in the NFC, I probably am leaning towards the Lions right now. But there's definitely a lot of football left to be played, and a lot of very fun matchups for sure. And I really do think that any of these 4 teams could make it out. But right now, I think I'm sticking with Detroit for sure.
Detroit. Yep. Any predictions in the AFC?
It's a good one. I think, you know what? I'll go out and say, I don't know. I think that it's tough. I think the Chiefs are going to beat Houston, but the Ravens and Bills matchup is just so hard to call. They're such good teams, such fun teams. The 2 MVP frontrunners playing each other. I just hope it's a good game.
Well, it's sure to be an exciting divisional round of football next weekend, as we'll see the Texans and Chiefs battle it out in Kansas City on Saturday, followed by the Commanders and Lions in Detroit. On Sunday, the Rams will head on the road to take on the 2-seeded Philadelphia Eagles, and we'll wrap things up on Sunday Night Football with the Ravens and Bills in Buffalo. And before we go, on behalf of all of us here at Fango Media, we want to extend our heartfelt thoughts and prayers to all those affected by the wildfires in Southern California over the past week. As someone who's from California and who has family in the LA area, it's been truly hard and devastating and sad to see what's been going on. But we especially want to give a big shout out and a big thank you to all the first responders who have been out there on the front lines this past week, as well as all the journalists and media that's been doing such a great job of covering this natural disaster. We hope that these winds will die down soon and that these fires can be contained as quickly as possible. That'll do it for our coverage here in Glendale, Arizona this season. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I'm Anthony Remedios, and you can stay up to date on everything else I'm doing here at Fango Media by subscribing down below, and also by following me on my personal socials, remedios.sports on Instagram and ARSports20 on X. Thank you all so much again. Comment down below your Super Bowl prediction and prediction for the rest of the playoffs. We'll see you all next time in Arizona.